John, do our intro.
What's up? Coast to Coast.
Did I?
Oh, God. You got me
I
off
dropped
guard.
that on him. I set him up for failure. I didn't even give him time. I didn't even let him know I was doing that. But what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast Sports YouTube. Listen. Check us out on Spotify.
Check us out on Spotify.
Check us out on Spotify. Spotify listeners, listen. Check us out on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow, do all those things for both on Spotify and on YouTube. We love it when you guys come hang out with us, interact with us on Twitter, follow us, tell us what you're feeling, how you're feeling. We've got some spicy topics today. Talking about the MLB trade deadline, talking a little NFL, talking about some legends, and talking a little soccer. So we'll get into it. But before we do, let's start the podcast with one of our sponsors, National Road Golf Course. Thank you so much for sponsoring the podcast. We really do appreciate it. If you're looking for a fun, casual, easy time to play with your friends or by yourself just to sharpen your game, check out National Road Golf Course. They got a full driving range. I'm talking driver all the way down to your putter. They got simulators inside if you want to just stay in the cool air conditioning and beat the heat, or if it's raining, thunderstorming, all that other stuff. And John, I know you are not the best golfer, so you like that more of an easier open style course where you can find your ball and play more to your advantage of a slice, right?
Look, I play at other golf courses. I have trouble finding my balls. I play at National Road.
You find your balls.
My balls are attached to me at all times at National Road.
I think personally, no man should go without finding their balls.
Yes.
And especially if it's a Pro V1, you want to find those balls. You know,
our next sponsor, Manscaped.
I wish. Manscaped. Yeah, let's talk about Manscaped, or let's talk about what's the. Do they do the ball wipes? Is that Manscaped?
Dude wipes?
Not dude wipes.
Dude wipes?
No, the ball one. Where the guy talks about wiping his balls with like that cool. Is that Manscaped still?
Or there's a brand called Dude Wipes.
Well, I know that's for like shit. It's for like baby wipes.
They have other products.
Oh, okay, cool. But yes, no need to get us sidetracked. But check out National Road Golf Course. West Jefferson, Ohio, Route 40, past all the warehouses. It'll be on your left or on your right, depending on which way you're driving. I know I didn't really make that very easy for you. But check them out. Let them know that we sent you. We love them. They love us. So thank you so much for them.
Shout out to simulators.
Shout out to simulators.
Yes.
So let's get right into it. John, to the left of me, as always, I'm your host, Harrison, and then Ryan behind the scenes doing his things, looking up ball wipes. We'll see how well that works out for him.
Yeah, keep us informed, please.
John, you got anything to say to people before we get started?
Well, I mean, I think we should just go into our quotes.
We just want to do a quote?
Yeah.
You want to explain the quotes? I'll let you explain the quotes.
So we'll explain the quotes here. So we have me on the left. I'm doing a Vince Scully quote because R.I.P. Vince Scully.
R.I.P. Rest in pussy.
My guy Harrison, he's on the right of me. He will be doing a Bill Russell quote.
Bill Russell.
R.I.P. Bill Russell.
88, 94. Bill Russell, 88. Vince Scully was 94.
94. So R.I.P. Before we get into our quotes, I would like to shout out Nick Castellanos for hitting a home run today. First time in a bit.
Shout out my guy.
Bit of a dangerous day to be hitting home runs on the death of Vince Scully, but that's just what he does. So shout out Nick.
Yes.
So I'll get into my quote first.
Yeah, go ahead, knock yourself out.
All right, so Vince Scully he's a colorful man.
Known to tell stories during the middle of at-bats,
like
plate appearances, anything.
For those baseball fans who are aware of Johnny Gomes, he's telling stories about him getting eaten by wolves as a kid.
And then he's saying, relaxes the heartbeat, sits there, and the wolf gets off. Johnny Gomes singles to right field.
So
Stuff like that.
So shout out Johnny Gomes. So one of my favorite quotes of his is, "Socialism failing, as it always does, this time in Venezuela." Anyways, 0-2.
0-2. So Vin, the legend and own. I saw something today where somebody tweeted like, Vin Scully found a way to fill up the silent parts of a game with unnecessary stories, but also found a way to take the most exciting part of the game in silence.
Yeah, and Vin Scully, he was with the Dodgers, I believe, for 67 years. No one's ever touching that. No commentator will ever be for a team that long. He was
He also did other sports.
Yeah. Youngest World Series,
Call
a World Series. I believe he was either 25 or 26.
I mean, he called the catch for Joe Montana. He's done, I think, golf tournaments. He's done boxing matches. He's done everything you can think of. So R.I.P. to Vin Scully.
Vin Scully.
You will be missed.
You will.
We already miss you now. So, but
Come
I'll go
on
to the
pod.
Bill. I'll go to the. Stop it. I'll go to the Bill Russell quote. Friendship is a full-time job.
Oh.
I like that. I want to be a little lighter note. I agree with our good friend Bill Russell because I got some of the best friends in the world. Obviously, 2 people I'm fucking sitting next to that are willing to do this with me and help me out and talking about sports and all that jazz. And all the other friends that I have around me as well. They're the best. And it is a full-time job, and they definitely take care of me, and I take care of them. I like to think so. Do I take care of you?
You do.
I
You
do.
do.
Ryan, do I take care of you?
Fuck no.
Well, that's because I don't really like Ryan. That's the point.
Oh, he doesn't wear a hat.
But this guy doesn't fucking wear a hat. Dog shit. But those are the 2 quotes that we got for you today. R.I.P. to Bill. R.I.P. to Vin.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is crazy for me is when I heard that both of them had passed away. I feel like those are the 2 like legends of their trade and or sport that like we necessarily didn't see or watch, but we like knew them in our lifetime. Like Babe Ruth, legend. You know, Wilt Chamberlain, legend. But like we never saw them in person, never saw like them around. But it's like I know who these people are. It would be like when Arnold Palmer dies or something, or like when LeBron, Tiger, these guys.
Arnold
Like,
Palmer's already dead.
is it Jack Nicklaus is still alive then, right? Yeah, Jack Nicklaus, like when he passes away. So it's like those are people I physically have seen, shit like that. Like this was one of those first ones where it kind of hit home. Betty White, same kind of upper echelon, but it was kind of just sad to see it. So RP to those guys, we'll miss them. You know, thinking about the families and all that jazz. But let's get into our first topic of the day. Oh fuck, I'm sorry, Ryan. You got anything to say to people?
I suck at golf. Let our team down in the outing.
Did he?
I mean,
I
he didn't
wasn't
play his
at
best.
that
He didn't.
outing,
He
I'm
didn't
sure.
play. He didn't play his best golf. I'll keep it a stack.
Okay.
But he didn't play his worst.
Look, hey, sometimes you just gotta hand up.
Hey,
That's on me.
That's on me.
And Ryan, I commend you for doing that.
And then we're gonna go from that, and then I'm gonna win the Reedy outing
Okay.
on the 21st.
I love
Hey,
it.
we're speaking into existence. I'm not in his group, but we'll see.
Can I be your guys' caddy?
You can be their 4th. They need a 4th.
Nope, my dad. He's committed.
No shot.
I'm more than okay with that.
God damn it.
I would.
Fuck my. Yeah, get a cart. Come and hang out.
I would
be the
embarrass
beer
you
girl
guys.
cart. Be the beer girl.
I'd love to be a beer
You
girl.
throw in some Daisy Dukes in a tank top. I'll tip you. I'll tip you well. But let's get into our first.
My dad securing the back.
I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking kneecap Ivan before this tournament. I'm telling you that right now. But let's get into our first topic of the day. Deshaun Watson making the newsreel again. This time for an official 6-game suspension for sexual misconduct. I know it's an unofficial official. They're appealing. Not they are.
the
NFLPA is.
So let's just get into it. So the
Fucking loosen up.
We'll loosen up here. So in the last collective bargaining agreement, we had the owners of the NFL and the NFLPA. They decided to not have Roger Goodell be the judge, jury,
And
and
executioner.
executioner.
Right.
They decided to have Sue Robinson be the middle ground legal person who's going to see all issues that are not directly in the NFL guidelines. So Sue Robinson decided on 6 games based on what she found. And now the NFL is appealing what Sue Robinson decided on. The NFLPA can also appeal the NFL's appeal, and we could end up seeing Deshaun Watson play week 1. I don't think this is good for the NFL. I don't think they want this to be dragged on. I don't know what's going to happen with this, but this can be going on for quite a while.
Yeah, I definitely think that it'll for sure drag on. Let's not sure about anything like that. But the problem I have is I think it needs to be one of 2 things, right? I think if Roger did it himself and was like, you know, fuck it, year ban, 2-year ban, whatever you want to call it, whatever deadline. I think, you know, Colin Cowherd had a pretty good take on it, I think, today. He goes, like, typically commissioners don't get shit on for going too hard. They get shit on for going too light. Like, Rob Manfred didn't get a lot of blowback when Trevor Bauer got suspended for 2 years.
I thought he did.
Not from like, you know, GMs, people like that. He got blowback from, like, certain people, for sure. You're going to get blowback regardless. But it's not like it's still making the news roll. When Deshaun got his suspension, once again, not Roger Goodell's total suspension, we had a third party come in, do that investigation, be the judge, jury, and executioner.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it on every single news media. I saw it on every single outlet. I'm talking Undisputed, Colin Coward. I'm talking local channels. I'm talking non-local channels. I saw it on everything. The Athletic, ESPN, obviously, NBC, ABC, shit like that. When I saw Trevor Bauer get suspended, made ESPN news, made a couple local ones. I mean, made its rounds like, oh, that, and then it was out within a week. I'm still seeing discussions about it today.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I mean by that.
And well, also some of those shows that you talked about don't even touch baseball. That's a part of it.
Yeah, for sure. And no, it definitely has to do with the people and namesake and all that jazz too. Because if you have some minor leaguer in baseball or you have some low-level guy in the NFL, if it's those roles, nobody gives a fuck. It's because it's Deshaun Watson, who's the highest paid guaranteed quarterback in the NFL, and it's Trevor Bauer, who was one of the best pitchers in baseball, was the best pitcher in baseball at his time. So it's definitely, I don't want to say it's devil's advocate, that's not the correct word, but it's definitely of who the person is and why they're making the newsreels. So I feel like most commissioners don't get a lot of blowback for that necessarily. Same thing with like PEDs and all that shit and betting. But I think that Roger definitely got a little bit of blowback, or, sue whoever you want to fault for why this is the way it is, why it's too little, too much, or the perfect amount, whoever you want to fault for that. I think that's why I got a little bit of blowback for that. So I don't understand the thought process of why you would want to bring a third party in. Maybe the thought process is, hey, they're unbiased, they have no opinion. Which is fine. That's cool.
Well, yeah, it's the reason is to put all this, a lot of people are comparing this to the Calvin Ridley case. So we're talking
which is stupid.
Yeah, all these comparison, the NFL's trying to take this blame and put it onto somebody else. Mm-hmm. That's what this is. And they're even appealing this. So I think this is also a PR move for the NFL as well. Mm-hmm. Just being like, because when this came out, we got a lot of Calvin Ridley comparisons. The situations are just different. You just can't compare these. The way the NFL is structured now.
Gambling versus sexual misconduct is not even the same page, book, or library. I don't know why they're comparing it.
Yeah, so
if you want to compare it to like Kareem Hunt, Ray Rice, like another domestic violence, sexual misconduct, whatever. Big Ben, Big Ron Roethlisberger, like that's fine. That's different.
Well, even still, like this is all different.
It is still different for sure, but at least it's in the same book. You know what I mean? It's still sexual. It's still a man and a woman. It's still they've committed some type of misconduct. Comparing gambling or even PED, comparing somebody that had a PED issue makes no sense to why you would compare it to a domestic violence or even gambling. I don't know why that makes any sense.
But even further, this is the first time we've even seen a Sue Robinson decision. Yeah. So comparing this to anything else is just like, why are we doing this? Right. I get maybe 5 years from now, we see some other decisions from Sue. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe we have some more comparison here, but at least as of right now, we have nothing to compare this to. So, I mean,
at the end of the day, my thought on this is, I've got two thoughts. One, I don't want to necessarily say that the 6 game is too little or too less. I think it's too little in the sense of if he did the things that he did, and I'm sure there's definitely a lot of smoke, but not a lot of fire, because there's no real that we know. Obviously, this is courtroom stuff, so it's like that's not all getting just leaked to the press, and that's not being necessarily public documented yet. And also, still, it's he said, she said, right? That there is hearsay there. Nobody's denying that. But whether it's too little or too much, I think it's too little in the sense of if he did do these things, he should be fucking banned for life or definitely longer suspension, no doubt. But if he's not doing these things, and I feel like 6 games might be a little egregious, maybe like a 3 game, 2 game, because there is, like I said, a lot of smoke, not necessarily a lot of fire. There's not hard evidence, and there's definitely not consistent stories is what I'm hearing and being told. I don't know how true that is. Once again, it's a lot of hearsay, right? Mm-hmm. The problem I have, though, is I feel like it's too light in the sense of how much smoke there is. Whether it was the 66 people or 65 cases at start that got whittled down to 23, then the 23 got whittled down to 5. To me, I feel like it's a statistical improbability that that all these women are either lying or just trying to make a cash grab. Like, I think the Ezekiel Elliott one, like, it's kind of basically come out. It's kind of well understood, like, she was just trying to make a cash grab.
Yeah, I think
there was no evidence of him hitting her or, the whole case of that. The other person that was in the car was like, that never happened. So, it's 2 versus 1. That's a little more credible. We can stand on that, right? Ben Roethlisberger, his situation was between one girl and one incident, and they settled it, right? This is whether it's between 5 girls or 23 girls, there still is a lot of smoke. And I think a good point is a lot of other professional athletes are shedding light on, like, I've been in the league for 10 years. I've only ever had one masseuse. I've been in the league for 15 years, and I've only had 2 in my entire life. The reason I didn't get a second one is because I moved from Miami to Sacramento, right? I think it is a little weird with how many that he's had in the short stint that he's been in the NFL. That was part of the smoke issue. Once again, there's no crime, and there's nothing wrong with getting and firing and hiring a new masseuse every week. You can do that all you want. It's just weird, and it's just odd. So I think that should be longer. But the biggest thing that I want to talk about is, or the biggest thing that I want to point an emphasis to, and I'll know John's got some other takes or some thoughts to this as well, is that the judge was literally said in her dissertation, I don't think you're telling the truth. And to me, that's kind of an issue. If you have a judge and you're supposed to be under oath, you're supposed to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, the whole shit. Like, that's like a legal thing. If you don't tell the truth, you get popped for it. You go to jail for that, I'm pretty sure, right? Or like you get like in contempt or something. You get something like that. Yeah. So if she doesn't fully believe that he's telling the truth, to me, that's an issue. Not necessarily from the NFL standpoint, because why they gave it off to a third party. It's the third party's issue. It's not the NFL's issue. But to me, that is cause for concern. That adds to the smoke for it. So and obviously Deshaun knows the truth, and whether he is telling the truth or not, he's telling it, and you have to believe that is the truth, to at least from our standpoint and the listener's standpoint and everybody else. But I'm going to trust the judge. She's not a first-time judge. She's not like she's done this for 6 months. She's done this for a couple of years, at least several, So I'm going to take her side on that. So that to me makes it seem like it's a little too light for me, but without hard evidence, it is kind of hard just to, shit on him. So,
yeah. And another thing I saw in her dissertation, or whatever you want to call it, she also said about the kind of looseness of the NFL guidelines. There really isn't a lot in the guidelines for this. So that's why she kind of settled on 6 games, because there's no real extent on how far this should go.
Yeah.
That's why she was kind of against the indefinite ban the NFL was fighting for.
Yeah.
That's another thing I saw in there to add to that. I also don't know if this was like an official court ruling. I don't think it was, because she's a retired federal juror, or judge. So I'm not sure. Maybe lying there doesn't really he can't go to jail
for
it,
but
wasn't a real
setting.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how that all played out, but
the one thing that I do think was interesting was that what would you just say that you said not before the she was retired or whatever, not the indefinite ban, just before that.
It was the NFL guidelines were.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So the guidelines, the thing that I understand her thought behind that, and the message, or I understand what she means.
Yeah, because she's coming from a legal standpoint.
Yeah, she's coming from a legal standpoint. But to me, what guidelines would you put in place? It's like, oh, well, domestic violence. Okay, it's automatic 6 games. Okay, well, there's a difference between pushing somebody, and they happen to fall and hit their head or back or whatever, versus beating the shit out of somebody. Those are 2 very, very broad spectrums. Or for Deshaun's case, it's like, okay, well, sexual misconduct, it's automatic 6 games. Okay, well, sexual misconduct between one person and sexual misconduct between 5 people, 6 people, 7 people, whatever, is that multiple 6 games? Or is it like, oh, well, he only did it with one person, so it's 6 games, and well, if somebody does it with 17 people and it's 6 games, it's like, what the fuck? Mine's just 1 for 1. Mine's hearsay. You could just believe her or believe him or believe whoever, and I could just get fucked in the end, because that's what they sided for. And it may be true and it may not be true. But then one person's got 7. He's like, oh, fuck, I'll just take the 6 games at that point. So I think it's kind of hard to set those parameters. It's not like PED, where it's like, okay, well, you use a performance-enhancing drug that we banned.
Yeah.
There it is. Super simple.
Or with gambling.
Or gambling, right?
Like what does happen.
With Calvin Ridley, right? Same thing. You fucking gambled. I don't care if you bet $5 or $5,000. Can't do it. We've made it clear. Automatic year suspension. To me, those are 2. To me, that's a hard thing. And I know somebody else was, a couple other talk shows are bringing that up. And I think that's just something that's too volatile or too malleable to bring up and basically I feel like that's an apples to oranges. It should be case by case, and I think that's why that is the way the guidelines are. I hope,
and I think that's why they're starting to go to this judge as well.
Yeah,
because this is going to be a case by case thing, and we'll be able to compare this to more cases in the future, I assume. Unfortunately, because that's just how our athletes are nowadays. But I mean,
we'll keep you posted. Well, I mean, this definitely isn't the case. The end of this, so. We'll see if more things come out or how things more get decided. We'll let you know. But those are just our initial thoughts.
Yeah. And I believe, so the NFL appeals Sue Robinson's case, and I believe the NFLPA has 2 days to then appeal the NFL's appeal, which would now put a suspension on Deshaun Watson's suspension, and he would be able to play week 1. Yeah,
which I don't know,
because it's
just a food for thought. If I'm Deshaun and that happens, I think I'd rather take the 6-game suspension and just go, because if you look at the Browns' schedule,
especially looking at their schedule,
first 6 weeks, I'm seeing with Jacoby Brissett a very, very capable backup.
I'm thinking
4 wins easily.
The window is you can go 2-4 or you can go 5-1. There's actually a decent, and I think.
To me,
it's more likely
the last 2 games of that
game.
week 6.
Yeah,
it's like Patriots and
Chargers.
And Chargers. Those are to me potentially your 2 losses. You could beat the Patriots, for sure. I'm just saying between those 2, those are the 2 where you're that could be kind of toss up. The first 4 you should go 4-0 in my opinion.
And with the Browns roster, the only question is the Steelers Thursday night. I mean, it's a rivalry game. It's in Cleveland.
Okay, so then that's
in
better.
Cleveland.
That's better.
Thursday night. I mean, who knows what's going on with the Steelers right now? I guess Matt Canada said that Mason Rudolph might be the starter.
Oh, God.
Might just be getting the boys to work a little harder in the QB room, but I mean,
a lot can happen. Obviously,
who knows what's going on with the Steelers?
You could go out first snap, Jacoby Brissett tears his rotator cuff, tears ACL. Now you're third string, right? Anything can happen.
Yeah, and you have the Falcons, Jets, and Panthers, and the Panthers is okay, let's see what Baker does. That game will all be dependent.
Actually, it's more what Christian McCaffrey does.
That too, but I think you can see a
revenge
a chip on his shoulder, Baker, and who knows.
So, we'll see. I think that the Browns, and that was my next question, predict the wins. I'm saying, I think you're right. It's either 2-4 or 5-1, right? I think it's between. I think the Browns will be 4-2.
I was going to say
that's my initial reaction.
I was giving you a window. I think 4-2 is what. If it is 6 games, that's what it would be.
Yeah, and I think personally, from a Deshaun standpoint, if you want to play, take the 6, run with it. Because even if you go 2-4, you can still make the playoffs, right?
Yeah,
and you can still have a chance to and still make some noise, because you don't want to be sitting here fucked up, suspended, coming down to the playoff time and when it matters most.
Yeah, and 2-8 versus 6 games versus 8 games actually means a lot too, because you're adding 2 more division games with Ravens on the road and then Bengals Monday Night Football in Cleveland. So
on Halloween.
Yeah, so
even better.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you posted. Those are just our initial thoughts. I hope justice at the end of the day is just served. Whether if he did all the things he did, I hope he gets punished for all that stuff. And if something has come out where it's all smoke and it just was strictly smoke, then I hope justice is served there too. So we'll see how that goes. But switching to our next topic, we'll talk a little bit MLB trade deadline. But before we get there, we got to shout out our next sponsor, Pita Abilities. Delicious food on a pita. I'm talking chicken, gyro, falafel, whatever you want, right? They have it, okay? Chicken teriyaki, chicken barbecue, chicken buffalo, anything you want, they can make it. They've got rice bowls, they've got salads, they've got all the goods and everything more. Check out Pita Ability's website to see where they're located in the city, because they are a food truck. They can go anywhere and everywhere. They also have a brick and mortar store in Old Hilliard, Ohio, and Crooked Can. That is their location. Go in there, walk in, order the great food. Let them know that Coast to Coast sent you. And we appreciate them so much for their sponsor. I mean, I can't speak highly enough of them. I love them. I actually worked for them for a summer. So when I say that, food trucks typically freak people out. I've cleaned those food trucks every single time at the end of every night, every dish. They truly, truly do keep cleanliness next to godliness.
Those are some clean motherfuckers.
I'm talking clean motherfuckers. But shout out Pete Abilities. I think we actually might be popping by this week, so you might be able to see us there. We'll let you know. But shout out Pete Abilities for the sponsor. Check them out. Check out their website, and let them know that Coast to Coast sent you. Mm-hmm. But let's get into the MLB trade deadline. We have 3 categories.
Yes.
We've got big winners,
big winners,
big losers, and wait and see.
We'll wait and see.
We'll wait and see. And then obviously teams that don't make either of these categories, they just decided to sit by the wayside. Like Rockies didn't trade anybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, or they didn't do anything to really be like, oh, they're a big winner, they're a big loser, and they're a wait and see. They're just the Rockies. Same thing with like the Rangers, right? The Rangers didn't do anything either, really. So they just kind of sit there and we'll just wait and see. So big winners first. I think we should start with the Nationals.
We'll start with the Nationals, yeah.
I don't know if they won the trade deadline. I don't know if they're number one, but if they're not number one, they're number two. The Nationals literally rebuilt their farm system and everything about it in a matter of 4 hours.
Yep.
They officially went through, and I'll just go into number two, who we think is number two, is the Padres. Padres also won. Huge. So the Nationals and the Padres did a trade. Juan Soto and Josh Bell both go to the Padres, and the Padres send everyone that they have to the Nationals. Mackenzie Gore, C.J. Abrams were the two headliners, big headliners. Mackenzie Gore, obviously, he's been playing this year. He can start immediately for the Nats. But they rebuilt their farm system immediately overnight and got a ton of great prospects and got a ton of great value out of Juan Soto and Josh Bell, especially because Juan Soto is not was not going to be wanting to stay there. So and they weren't going to be able to pay him. So I think the Nationals. I'm going to say the Nationals are the big winner more than the Padres because the Padres are going to be able to keep Juan Soto for maybe another year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they plan on extending an offer and signing him. They already have Machado on hook for a while. They already have Fernando on hook for a while. So I don't know if they can really even afford him or they're willing to pay that luxury tax. That's fine too. Either way, I think what the Padres could do as well is after they play this year, make that deep title run, postseason run, and maybe if Juan continues to play better and continues to ball out in the postseason, and maybe they play next year, I'm not sure when this contract ends, they flip them at another trade deadline and get a fuck ton of prospects back from like the Yankees, the Dodgers, who are willing to be like, here's $1 billion, come play for us. So, that's something that you can keep an eye on for, but those are definitely two big ones. What can you speak about the Nats and their big winners?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I was actually going to bring up the thing you said about the Padres trading away Soto in the future. I mean, that's a great point.
Yeah.
The only thing with the Nationals that confused me is I feel like they could have done two separate trades for Bell and Juan Soto. Mm-hmm. I know the Padres ended up giving a shit ton anyways, and it's more than worth
six. It. They gave 6 pieces. Not necessarily 6 prospects, starting prospects, but like 6 pieces of their farm plus, or 5 of their farm plus McKenzie if you count him as like a regular starter now.
Yeah.
To the Nats for 2 players. So basically 6 to 2, you're gaining 4 extra players, so I guess.
And top prospects, too.
Yeah.
These are no snubs either.
No.
So I think the Nationals built for the future. Look, they were getting Soto back. So getting whatever return you can for your players that aren't coming back, I will always see that as a positive, even if the return might not be worth it. And I think they got more than a return that is worth it. So I'm a huge fan of what the Nationals have been doing. The Padres, let's talk about the Padres. So last year, you're the big Astros fan in the world.
Huge. I love them.
The 2 biggest winners of the trade deadline last year were the Astros and the Braves. The 2 winners of their respective leagues.
Sad, because one of them beat us in the fucking finals.
Well, one of them
in the World Series.
One of them had to win. But anyways,
so sad.
And the Padres are, I think, well, obviously for right now this year, they are the winners. I mean, you have Juan Soto, Josh Bell, Brandon Drury, a huge underrated pickup they got as well. I mean, they added a lot to this lineup here.
Josh Hader.
I forgot that even happened.
Yeah, that's the crazy part is you pick up the best closer arguably in all of baseball.
Yeah.
And he's the 3rd best guy you got, or potentially
maybe
you forget forgot him. Now they sent Taylor Rogers. They sent a couple other bullpen guys that way that might be decent long. Taylor Rogers, he's no scrub. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they're going to extend Josh or all that jazz or how much his contract's for. But still, like Josh Hader, like arguably best closer in all of baseball, and you just casually got him like, oh yeah, fuck it, why not?
Yeah,
and Brandon Drury,
yeah,
highly underrated.
And speaking of him, I mean, as we're recording, he hit a grand slam today, so he's already hit a grand slam for the Padres. They're up 5-0 on the Rockies.
This guy fucks. Yeah, I'm hearing.
Yeah, so he fucks.
Awesome. They got rid of Luke Voigt,
Yeah, they did.
who wasn't lighting the world on fire, and they got rid of Eric Hosmer. He's going to the Red Sox.
And I think Voigt can have a good future. It's just he wasn't doing anything this year. He's
gotta
still pretty
stay,
young, though.
He's got to stay healthy. No, he's pretty old.
Is he?
Yeah, I mean, he started out with the Cardinals, and then he played his tenure a little bit with the Yankees. I mean,
I must be getting him confused with somebody else.
how old is he?
He's 31.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's still pretty young
He's
for
in
baseball.
He's
I
in
mean,
his prime.
yeah, most baseball primes is 20. It depends on what position you play, but like 28 to like 35-ish.
Yeah.
That's like your prime. So he's still in the middle of it. I just don't think he's really fulfilled it, if you want to call it that. But,
No.
so they got rid of some of those older guys, and they brought in, obviously, fuck ton of talent. So,
Yep.
I mean, Josh Bell's OPS is better than a lot of people's slugging percentage this year.
He's
So,
insane.
so he's having a career year for himself. So it's definitely a great ad. But those are definitely, if not one, I think the Padres are definitely the biggest winner because they're making a postseason run. I think they're the first wild card spot because I think the Dodgers are still leading their respective division, not by a lot, but they still are.
I believe you're
John,
right.
give me
But let's pull this up.
little quick check here.
Click on wildcard. Yep. So the Padres actually have the second spot.
Oh yeah, just because the Braves are fucking good.
They're 3.5 games behind the Braves for the other spot, and then they are. How far are they back in the division?
Yeah, I say the division will be the bigger
Loading.
case.
Okay, so they're in 11.5 games back. So they're probably not going to win the division.
Yeah.
But
they're 11 and a half games back, but they haven't even been at full health though, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Tatis hasn't even played this game.
Tatis hasn't even started yet. Then you're adding Juan Soto, you're adding Josh Bell, and then you're adding Josh Hader, right? So, and Brandon Drury. So to me, 11 and a half games, large gap.
Yeah.
Not saying that. But
It can be
with
over.
how much talent they just got instantly, I wouldn't be surprised if they snap on like a couple 10-game win streaks, 5 or 6 game win streaks, and a couple I'm talking like 15 series wins in a row. Something crazy. They have enough talent to do it.
Yeah.
Barring injury and anything else happening, right? It can definitely be done. So look out for the Padres, and they're going to make the playoffs.
And
they're definitely going to make the playoffs.
And I think making all these risks is worth it at the end, especially now that there's no more one-game wild card.
Yeah.
You have to lose twice now.
Yeah.
It's a best of 3. And I think that helps them out in their reasoning and their motive to go buy in.
Which I think is, kind of interesting too, is the fact that the Padres see themselves as, if they just get into the playoffs, I don't want to call them a dark horse, but they are going to be one of the people that if they made the World Series, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's a shock. Braves last year making the World Series shocked me, right?
Yeah, it did.
If the Padres made the World Series, I'd be like, no, they're built for it. They're
Yeah.
definitely fucking good. So that's okay. But those are definitely 2 big winners. Moving on to what we think is our third. I think it might be even 2, arguably, but not as good as the Nationals and not as good as the Padres, but definitely close second, is the Cincinnati Reds. Can we talk about the Cincinnati fucking Reds and their trade deadline? They traded and got back nobody. They got back nobody, and I love it. They fire sold. They got rid of all their best players except Joey Votto. They got rid of Castellanos. They got rid of Drury. They got rid of who else?
Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham. They got so many prospects, right? But the biggest reason I think they're the biggest winner is they're committing to something.
Mm-hmm.
They're committing to, look, we're gonna fucking suck the rest of this year, or if we win, great, no big deal. But we're committing to one thing, and it's a rebuild, and I love that. They were like fringe rebuild the past 3 years, it felt like. It's like, oh, yeah, we could win our division this year. And then they didn't do anything in the trade deadline, and then it fell apart. It's like, oh, we could make the playoffs this year. Didn't do anything in trade deadline, didn't do anything in the offseason, and then it fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that they're finally committing to something.
Yeah, and it won't take long for them to be that good. I think it'll only take a couple years. I think by
assuming everything pans out,
yeah,
right?
I think by 24-25, this team will be winning divisions, if not competing for divisions.
Nice.
I mean, I think they got some real good prospects. I mean, you got the number 1, 3, and 5 prospects out of the Mariners. You got a couple top 14s out of the Twins for Tyler Mahle. Brandon Drury, I thought they kind of got a little bit of the Padres didn't really give them much. They only got 1 shortstop prospect, which the Reds have a ton of shortstop prospects now.
Well, hey, you can flip them.
You can flip them. You can play them different positions.
That's the beauty of baseball, is how many prospects all these farm systems you can just flip and be good not instantly, but you can rebuild really quickly, and that's one thing that's awesome. I think the Reds are doing that, and that's why I think they're a big favorite too. But they're probably my number 3 on the winning. I think they're probably your 3 as well.
They're top 3. I honestly don't know what order I would put these, but those are definitely the 3 that are above everybody else.
Yes. And then I put this as my 4th team. I don't know where they rank on yours, but I put the Braves. The Braves had a phenomenal trade deadline. They extended Austin Riley for 10 years, fuck ton of money. So from like now to like 2027, they have Spencer, their rookie. They have Ian Anderson, Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna, Austin Riley, and I think one more person, maybe Travis Darno. I think Matt Olson.
Oh yeah,
Matt Olson, all through like 2027.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be good for a while now.
Yep.
And then they picked up Jake Odorizzi, who was Houston Houston like 4th starter for us. And they got rid of Will Smith, who's not been great for them all year. Got beat up really bad in July, so hopefully the Astros can figure that out for him because we got Will Smith in return. And they also picked up Grossman from the Tigers, who's a utility guy. He can play, I think, all outfield and I think second base. So they definitely got some depth, and they're winning they're going to win their respective division. The Mets are going to fall off, and we'll get to the Mets. Trust me. We'll get to the Mets. But I'm a huge fan for the Braves. Do you got anything to say about the Braves?
I mean, the Braves, I don't think they're my 4, but they are definitely top 5, top 6. I think I don't really count extensions. I mean, I'm not really.
I'm not considering that part of the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they didn't trade because they extended him. Then I could kind of include that, but it's different.
No, the Braves are set up for the future. They've been set up for the future. They just ensured that, and I mean, that's a winner to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say about that, really.
That's all you got to say about that, really?
I don't have much to talk about the Braves.
We don't talk about the Braves. I don't like the Braves. They hurt me. Last year, they hurt me.
I'm indifferent to them. I think the Braves do a lot of the talking for themselves, so I'll just let their play do that.
Another big winner, Minnesota Twins.
They are my 4.
They are your 4. So I think the Twins finally got their bullpen help.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up one of the best closers or middle. I don't know if they won't be their closer. Or will he be their closer, you think?
He'll be set up if not closer.
So Jorge Lopez from the Orioles.
Yes.
Great pickup.
Yep.
Been good all year. Been consistent all year. Had a phenomenal, I think, June. And they also picked up Tyler Mahle.
They did.
Mahle as well. So great bullpen help. They've been struggling there. They also got Michael Fulmer as well. So they added depth where they needed depth. And now the biggest thing for the Twins is they just got to stay healthy. Keep Byron Buxton healthy. Keep Carlos Correa healthy. And I think that they definitely should win their division, especially with adding these guys so you're not blowing leads and blowing games. But I feel like there's a stretch there where the Twins blew like 4 games in a row. And like the 7th inning early, I think is considered blown.
Mm-hmm.
So
against the Guardians, too, who they're fighting with.
So definitely picked up some help there. What do you think?
I mean, look, this AL Central Division, not to tip any picks, or tip any teams that are in other categories, but this team won not only because they did something, but the other teams in their division
did nothing. And we'll
get there. And they don't have a big lead over those teams, but at least they did something to make themselves better. I think their pitching rotation got a lot better. Their bullpen got a lot better. Their lineup was already pretty solid. It's nothing to write home about, but it's enough to win the AL Central.
For sure.
And I think that adding that depth to the pitching, the rotation, they're going up from here.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for my bet for the Guardians, Astros, and Yankees parlay to win their divisions, but
don't sleep on the Guardians, all right? I'm not sleeping on them yet.
They're not out of it. I mean, they're only a game back, but I mean, this does not play well for them.
For sure. But let's get to, I think, our last big winner. You're a big Astros fan. Why don't you talk about it?
So the Astros suck. They added absolutely no one. They got fleeced on every trade they did.
100%. Astros, the biggest takeaway I have from them is they know they're going to probably make a postseason run. They're definitely going to win their division unless something tragic happens.
Yeah, that'd be
we're up. The Astros are up 13 games on the second team, which I think is the Mariners.
You're up 11 on the Mariners.
Mariners. Okay, so since we lost 2 to the Red Sox,
And then 21 up on Texas. So
yeah, so we're definitely making the playoffs.
don't sleep on the Rangers.
Unless something tragic happens. So we just added depth where we needed depth. First base play has not been very good for Yuli this year. Added Trey Mancini, veteran, never been to the. I think he's been to the postseason, maybe a wild card once. It'll be exciting to get him in there and get him some postseason experience. I think we have him through like 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Added that depth. He can also play outfield, especially with the short left wall, 315, and being taller. He doesn't have to cover as much ground because he got removed from Camden Yard because they decided to play Biddle Park and fucking extend their wall another like 70 yards or something like that. I think it was like 315. Now it's like 400 out there.
I'm not sure the exact stat, but I know the home runs are grossly down in Camden Yards.
Disgusting. So he couldn't play left field for them anymore. So now he was just their DH and first base. So now he can play some outfield as well. Picked up Will Smith. Hopefully we get him back to midseason form to what he did in the postseason last year. Because his last year against everybody, I don't think he allowed a single run or and like a sub-1 ERA, something crazy like that.
Okay.
When he came in. So he was fucking disgusting last year. The Matzik, Smith, 1-2 punch that the Braves had in the postseason was magical. I saw somebody said, Will Smith, hate to see you go. I mean, I'm okay with Will Smith leaving because of how bad he's been this past month or two. But I really do appreciate that month run where he turned into Monair Rivera to win us a lot of games. So hopefully we get him. And then we picked up Vasquez from the Red Sox, added depth at the catcher spot. Jason Castro's definitely not coming back. We just put him on the IL 60 because of a meniscus injury. He had 1 hit this entire year, and it was a 2-run homer to take the lead over the Mets in New York. So, that was a good hit, but we're not going to put our trust in Corey Lee, a guy that we've floated back up and down with AAA in our taxi as well. He will be our future catcher, but he's just not going to be the guy now. We want to take some off of Martin Maldonado. So
gotcha.
I think we added depth where we needed it, and I was kind of hoping for Josh Bell, but we couldn't offer what the Padres offered. So I think the Astros definitely got better, and I think they're kind of a big winner here.
Yep.
Now, before we get to the big losers, let's do the wait and sees. We got 3 wait and sees, and John and I were debating about this for maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes. The Yankees added people. They got Benintendi from the Royals, Bader from the Cardinals, and they also added. Who else did they add?
They got first. Then they get what pitcher did they get? They got a pitcher.
Oh, Frankie Montas from the A's, and another long reliever from the A's.
Yeah.
So, the wait and see aspect is I think they were in the market to get Juan Soto.
Yeah.
So they missed out on that. So I don't know if you call that a loser or not, but they definitely didn't get that. I wouldn't say they got rid of Joey Gallo, which is good for them because
addition by subtraction.
Highest strikeout percentage, terrible average, and whiff rate through the roof. So the biggest thing for me with the Yankees is I don't think they got crazy better. They got some great defensive, fielders. Harrison Bader, disgustingly fast, great defender, several Gold Glove winner. Benintendi, nothing about a night about, but he's not going to win you a bunch of games. And Frankie Montas, I don't know how good he is because the A's are so bad. So it's if he's keeping the ball in play and his ERA's down, not his ERA's, home runs are down, that's fine. But he's going to be their third starter?
Yeah.
Right?
Probably,
third or fourth, maybe? Third. So, that'll be interesting. But they got rid of Jordan Montgomery, which is more where the wait and see. They lost another key bullpen guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and their bullpen's been their best thing all year. One of their best things. I think their bullpen's ERA is one of the best in baseball behind, I think, the Astros, ironically. So they're a wait and see. If we get to October, then it's fuck, dude. The Yankees are still number 1, and their rotation's now disgusting, and Harrison Bader's definitely paying off, and Benintendi's paying off, and Frankie Montas paying off. And we'd be all right, big winner. But I could also just seeing them being nothing's changed. It's just typical. They've done their normal average routine. Montas is getting hit around, or and if they have a first round exit in the postseason, I would say they're a big loser then because they didn't get better.
Right.
So we'll see about them. And then the Mariners, another wait and see is they got Luis Castellanos.
Yep.
Great fucking pickup for him.
Yep.
Got rid of a lot of prospects for him, which is fine. That's cool.
A lot of their net guys up are now, so I think
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, which is a ton of young guys. But that's about it. That's all they did.
Yeah. The only thing here, I mean, this is the longest playoff drought in any of the 4 major sports. You add to that to pretty much ensure that you are in the playoffs. Obviously, they're not winning the division, but they have a pretty good, if not almost guaranteed, shot at a wild card right now. I would say pretty good right now. I guess they're only 2 games up, so they could lose out on that. But I think adding Castillo really helps to ensure that they do make the playoffs. They do have a shot against whoever they're playing, whether that's Houston, Texas, or Minnesota, Toronto, Tampa, whoever in the wild card. Probably gonna be either Toronto or Minnesota.
I think it's Tampa. If it ended today, I think
they'd play Toronto.
The Twins.
No, they play Toronto because the Twins would play the Rays and then Toronto would play Seattle.
No, I think the wild cards with the 2 better records play each other.
Yeah.
So the Toronto and Tampa would play each other, and then the Twins would play them.
Tampa. So the 2
Oh,
best.
you fucking clicked on it. God damn it, John.
Sorry.
I saw a graphic that said the playoffs ended today. This is what it would look like.
Maybe it was yesterday because they're only a game above them.
Okay, yeah.
So maybe that was yesterday because they had.
As of right now, it wouldn't be that.
Yeah, because it'd
be Toronto.
It'd be Yankees 1 seed first round bye, Houston 2 seed first round bye. The Twins would play the worst wild card record, which would be the Tampa Bay Rays as of right now, and then Toronto would host Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's fine. Yes.
You got to think pre-7-game NFL playoffs. This is what this picture looks like, where all the division winners are going to be 1 through 3, instead of 1 through 4 versus football.
Right.
And then it's going to be the 3 wild cards. You got to take record out of it. So.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, that's the only thing they really got better at. They didn't really pick up anybody else. It's just kind of that was the big splash that they had. So I think it'll pay off for them because I think Luis is a really good pitcher.
He is.
Yeah. And I think it'll play definitely better for their ballpark because I think Great America Ballpark is more home run friendly ballpark. So Mariners, that'll help keep its home runs down necessarily, but we'll wait and see. Like I said, it could be just, hey, they get into the playoffs, great. But I could also see them fucking falling apart again. So, you're putting that all on one guy, I feel like it's kind of hard. You didn't get better anywhere else.
But you have him for 2 years.
Yeah.
You'll have him next year as well.
Right.
So.
And the next and last latency is Oakland. They sold, again, they got rid of Montas and they got another pitcher, got a bunch of prospects.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I have them in the wait and see versus a big winner versus nobody is they made a big deal and got more prospects for 2 people. So only reason I put them, I wasn't even going to put them on this list until they got rid of Montas, who was their last good pitcher. And that's pretty much it. I thought they were going to get rid of Sean Murphy too. So if they would have got Sean Murphy, I would say maybe it's a bigger winner because they would have got more prospects for him. But he stays, and I think that's kind of just where that leaves it.
And another thing with Oakland, if they're not going to do anything in the off seasons, this is a time you need to make moves.
Yeah.
So this is a wait and see. We'll see what these prospects turn out into because again, they're not adding anybody. So we'll see what happens.
Big losers,
man.
The biggest one, in my opinion, is the Mets. They did nothing.
Yeah.
I think they added literally one guy. I think it was a bullpen guy. I don't know if they're putting a lot of faith in Jacob deGrom and Max Scherzer coming back from the injured list and hoping that they're just going to carry this team. Their offense has been pretty good, pretty consistent, but they still have holes, and I don't know if they're really – I feel like they're putting a lot of faith on deGrom to stay healthy, who hasn't been healthy for a full year in a while. Mm-hmm. And they're putting on a lot of faith for Max Scherzer, who's old, and for him to stay healthy and carry a team. And then I just feel like they didn't do enough.
And another thing with the Mets too is that they were just you felt like they were in so many of these races.
Yeah.
If Shohei would have gone, it felt like the Mets were one of the top ones. Shohei felt like, or Soto felt like he was one of the top one. The Mets were one of the top teams. So they just missed out on 2 blockbuster trades as well. They did add Tyler Naquin. I forgot the Reds traded Naquin too. So they did add Naquin. I do like Naquin. He's the best minor league contract player in baseball.
He's definitely up there for sure.
Yeah.
I personally think Jeremy Pena is, but that's whatever.
I mean, that's an argument.
So I feel like the Mets have a real chance at winning their division this year.
Sure.
And the fact that they didn't get better, the Braves did get better, and I think the Braves might take their division. And I wouldn't be surprised if I don't think the Mets will fall out of playoff contention.
No.
But it's not like they have a huge lead. I mean, 66.
They're 10.5 games above St. Louis, who's the first team out. So,
Well, yeah, right.
so they're more than likely going to make the playoffs, because St. Louis didn't get much better either. So.
Yeah, and that's speaking of St. Louis. Next big loser, Cardinals. You and I talked weeks before this, and even a couple months before this. We wanted to see the Cardinals go big, get somebody so we could see these last three guys: Wainwright, Albert, and Molina. Last playoff run, get them in the postseason. They didn't do that.
Nope.
Not only did they were supposed to get Juan Soto, they were like the leading favorite until like the final hours.
Yep.
So they missed out on that deal. So that sucks. They lose Harrison Bader. They pick up Jordan Montgomery, which is fine. He's a great pickup. He's a good bullpen guy. But you lose your Gold Glove center fielder, and I don't know if you're going to just replace him with another center fielder that as a prospect or who else you have on your bench. So I think they're a huge loser in the sense that they didn't get better for the sake of Wainwright, Molina, and Albert Pujols. And that's pretty much the only thing I got.
Yeah, I mean, they felt like the favorites for Soto.
Yeah,
they
for sure.
did. You thought
Final hour.
Final hour. And they had a lot of prospects that they could give up to. They had the capital for it. They just didn't go through. The only benefit of the Cardinals, and here's another segue, the Brewers got worse too, and they are
another big
behind.
loser.
They're 2 games behind them. So
Arguably, the biggest winner out of this whole thing might be who's that division?
it's the Brewers, Reds, Cardinals, Pirates. What did I say?
Cubs.
Cubs. Yeah.
Honestly, the biggest winner the Brewers might be the biggest winner because the Cardinals didn't get Juan Soto and Josh Bell. So that might be a big win for them, but Brewers lose aces above ace closer and Josh Hader, and essentially add zero help. They got bullpen back with Tyler Rogers and some other guys, so that does help in that sense, but they didn't get better offensively, and I don't think they got better necessarily defensively. Their lineup is subpar. I think I would have really liked to see Yelich get dealt here. He might have some capital in the sense of like, oh, well, we know how good he was. We can make him that again.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe get some capital there, but you got to get over this Yelich phase of he's it still. He's just not been the same, and that sucks. I really like Christian Yelich, but the Brewers definitely lost their best player and got. I mean, you're putting a lot of faith in Devin Williams to now carry that bullpen and be the ace.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Rogers might have to carry a lot of that weight, but it's just 2 very different style of pitchers. So I think they're a huge loser.
Yeah, and this was the time to buy, and they sold.
Right. Fuck them.
Yeah.
But,
fuck the Brewers.
Fuck the Brewers. And last but not least, well, we actually have 2. We have 3 more.
We have 3.
We got 2. I don't want to put them. I'll just knock these 2 out real quick because I don't want to put them in the wait and see, and I don't want to put them in the big loser. They're in the big losers, but they've been there barely. And it's the Guardians and the White Sox.
Yep.
The Guardians are the big losers, in my opinion, and I think your opinion as well, is they're already so stupid young. I don't know, and they're not going to go out and make a big splash and buy a bunch of people. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to be trading away a lot of your current starting guys and not your prospects because your starting guys are basically your fucking prospects, right?
They have some more in the farm, but
They have some of the farm. Don't get me wrong. They got some guys that are playing out lights out. Hashtag this ship rocks.
yeah, they actually have 8 of the top 100 prospects, more than any other team.
Yeah. So I don't know if you're convinced on selling those guys off because your prospects right now are paying out very well.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't do anything. They didn't go get anybody. And I feel like they have a chance to make a splash and win their division or be very, very competitive in their division. And the Guardians would be a team where it's like, once it comes to playoff time, it's like, it's not somebody I'd be like, oh, yes, we're playing Cleveland. I'd be like, I don't fucking know, man. They're all young. They have no playoff experience except Jose and Shane. I think that's it, right? Maybe one other person from Reyes, maybe?
I mean,
maybe a bullpen.
I don't know. Maybe on other teams, but I think
not for Cleveland.
Not for Cleveland. Most of this core, I think the last year they made it was 2018. So most of this core wasn't here. That was about 4 years ago.
So it's one of those ones where like, oh wait, we got a stupid bunch of young guys.
Or you know what? My bad. They made it the 2020 COVID year, but they lost.
That doesn't count.
They lost 2
To
years to the Yankees. But yeah,
that's also a different. That was a different.
that was
team
different.
still.
Yeah,
But so I don't know. I'm indifferent about the Guardians. So they're. I'm going to put them in the big loser because they could have done something because of how many prospects they have. I'm not saying necessarily go and get Juan Soto, but go out and get somebody. Go get maybe even get Christian Yelich and say, hey, we can fix you. I don't know. He could be a serviceable right fielder for you guys and all that stuff. But and then the other team, White Sox, I just feel like they also did nothing. They should be a hell of a lot better than what they are.
Mm-hmm.
I know injuries playing a fact to that, and I get that. But the fact is they're not good. They're just not. They're not as good as they should be. You had the best closer in baseball last year on your team, Liam Hendricks. He's still solid.
Mm-hmm.
But you have Kopech, you have Giolito falling off the match. Rendon's gotten a resurgence. He was good for you guys last year, and now it's just fucking really good for the Giants.
Yep.
So they didn't do anything. They didn't get any, but they didn't get better. And I just feel like with the chance of a division that they could really take over and be aggressive in and win, they didn't do anything to help that.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just hoping, hey, we'll get healthy and that'll be it. I think that's a very wishful thinking.
Yeah, I mean, they were quite a bit behind Cleveland and Minnesota, and they have caught up. They are only 2 games out of Minnesota, I believe, or two games behind Minnesota. So, I mean, they could still easily win this division. But if we're talking winners and losers of the trade deadline, we have 3 teams here that have a chance to win a division, and only one of them made
any moves, and that's why the Twins are big winners.
And
don't get me wrong, the Twins didn't do anything to where like, oh my God, they're setting the world on fire. It's like John just said, they did something to win their division. That's a lot of our big winners, right?
Yeah.
Like we put the Braves because they did something to try and win their division, and the Mets did nothing. Big loser, right? The Nats rebuilt their farm. Obviously, that's just going to be a big winner. Padres trying to make a run and winning their division and make a run in the playoffs. Big winner. Reds fire sold everybody. So once again, those 2 teams have a very very good chance of winning their division or making a run at it, and they did nothing. So that's just frustrating. But last but not least, biggest loser. One of the biggest losers I personally am fighting for is the Giants. The Giants are not nearly as good as they were. I don't know if last year was a fluke with Kevin Guzman, Buster Posey. Like losing Kevin Guzman and Buster Posey could not have been that detrimental to where you're this bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be a lot worse if the other 2 teams in their division weren't i.e. Arizona Diamondbacks and the Rockies.
Yeah.
Carlos Rodon's, I'm not saying going for a Cy Young right now because he's just not going to beat Corbin and he's not going to beat Sandy. So, but he's 3rd probably. He's having a great year. You brought Jock Peterson in. You brought back Belt. And you kept Brandon Crawford. You kept you brought in some depth from other teams that played really well for them last year, i.e. Jock. You brought back depth from Belt from previous years, and he's been there forever. And you brought back Brandon, and you have Brandon Crawford, who's been there for his entire career. But you guys are just so bad. I don't know if they should have sold. I'm arguing that they should have sold. I think Rendon's a free agent next year or at the end of this year. Sell him. He's a Cy Young candidate. He could definitely go to a contender where you could get a fuck ton of people for him.
Mm-hmm.
At least 4 players. Maybe 2 top 10, top 25 of their farm system, and you definitely could have got somebody for them, and they didn't do anything. I just think they're a big loser.
Yep.
And I don't know if you got anything else to add to that. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to touch on.
No, and they got, just for the additions for the teams in their division, they lost in that way too. So.
Yeah, and like I said, the other 2 teams got so much better in their division, except the Dodgers. The Dodgers will be interesting.
Yeah.
They got Joey Gallo, which once again not very good right now. But he's one of those ones I could see. I think it'd be very poetic justice. I would hate to see it if like the Dodgers and the Yankees made it in the World Series because that means the Astros didn't make it, and also it's like the 2 biggest markets. Like everybody hates that. But it'd be kind of poetic justice if like Joey Gallo hits like a pinch hit or like a right fielder like or DH starting like important home run or like has like a wild World Series. That'd be like poetic justice, but I don't think it'll happen. But before we get into Ryan's 2-minute drill, which is the next part, so I don't know, Ryan, if you want to get that shit going or getting us started with that or whatever, but I'm letting you know that's coming up next. So you better be on your P's and fucking Q's here because John and I are coming with the heat. Okay? We're going to be ready. We're going to answer these questions and we're going to get it going. All right? You fucking ready?
Yeah.
I don't know why you're yelling at me. But before we get to that, I just want to say huge shout out to the boys of St. Mary Magdalene Coaching Baseball. We officially finished our season, got our All-Star break game out of the way. We wrapped it up. We only got 1 win.
It was a beautiful
Not great.
It was not a good win at all.
Definitely not a good year. By far our worst year. I think
Yeah.
our win percentage going into this season was like 800 plus, 900 maybe.
790.
Easily.
Yeah.
Like, easily. So, we were fucking doing great work.
We were dogs.
We were John Witt,
Dog.
dog. Harrison, dog. Ian Benz, dog. Like, Tony DeBond, dog. He scores 5 touchdowns on the South Side. I love that guy.
He plays. I didn't know he played running back.
Evan Leaker, man, he's a baseball player. All SAC baseball player, and now he's out here playing football. And he's dog. Evan Leaker, dog. So shout out us. We finished our season. It was a rough one. I almost had to throw down with a grandma. Very
Wild.
I really wish John would have been there for that because I would have just had my boys kneecap her, but it is what it is.
I would have done it for you, Harrison.
And I appreciate you for that. I really do. It was an odd experience, and I don't want to get more in depth because I don't want to slander her because she might send people at me because she knows people, John.
Oh, I know she does.
She knows people, and I said, "Is that a threat?" She goes, "It's not a threat." I go, "I don't know how to take that other than it's a threat."
It was
But
a threat.
But that's just me. We finished our season, so shout out us, shout out the boys and coaching staff. Hopefully, we'll be back next year, better reloaded. We have a new farm system, so our farm system's definitely gotten rebuilt. But I think Ryan, you ready for us? You ready for us? All right, John, come on, loosey goose.
We hit it last week.
We hit it last week. And we had some extra seconds. So, Ryan, whenever you're ready.
All right. You're not doing the thing.
What?
The intro. The quick hits, quick hits.
Oh, yeah. Ryan's 2-minute drill. Obviously, quick hits, quick takes, and it's just what John and I think. I'm assuming it's mostly about stuff that's happened this past week. Something that's caught his eye or what we think not necessarily is the main staple of the talking point, but should definitely be brought up. So it's quick hits, quick thoughts. John and I say what we got to say in a couple seconds and a couple words, couple words, whatever you want to say. I had a stroke about halfway through that. So go ahead, Ryan.
All right.
Hit it with us. I'm sorry I let you down on the intro.
I'm sorry that I let you down. Messed up my intro.
No.
You do it every time.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if you do it subconsciously.
I do. Okay? Just fucking get to the thing.
All right. Celtics legend Bill Russell passed away at 88. Young guy, unfortunate.
Young guy.
Any thoughts to remember by?
Greatest champion in all of sports.
I mean, he's the GOAT.
Yeah, it has to be.
I mean, he's got the most rings.
Is that him,
Yeah.
right? That's him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Go on.
The England women's national team won the Euros this past week.
It's coming home!
Do they rival USA's dynasty as the best women's team?
Oh, fuck. World number one's dynasty. I don't know, man. I mean, USA's too good. They have to beat them. So we'll see.
I don't even think it's a rivalry. I think England's way better.
What? Go on. I'm not talking about this shit. What?
Tiger Woods turned down a whopping $700 to $800 million offer to play in the LAV tour.
Fucking stupid.
Did he fumble the bag?
What do you think?
Yeah, he did. I'll pick it up.
I wish I could pick it up. I don't think he fumbled it. I think he really he makes enough money off his endorsements anyway, so it's not like he lost money, but he wants to keep that namesake.
Yeah, what's money?
I can use it. I'll take it.
As we already mentioned earlier, Vin Scully passed away, legendary voice of the Dodgers. Passed away at 94 years old. Any closing memories from him?
Anyway, 0-2 count.
Yeah, known socialism hate him.
No socialist hater. Go on.
All right. Debo Samuel gets a 3-year extension worth $73 million, 58 of it's guaranteed. Is he worth all this money?
Hell no.
No way. And I know Debo Samuel's fucking good, and he's really good at his job, but he plays a job where he gets hit and hit a lot. It's just one thing needs to go wrong. It's a lot of hits for 3 years, 50 of it guaranteed. No way.
I don't know if NFL GMs realize how many good receivers there are. Because there's a lot.
Do you count him as a receiver?
Yeah.
Isn't his technical position running back?
No, I think he's a receiver. He was a receiver on my fantasy team last year that won the championship. So
Hey, but you won a fantasy because you had that one dude. Who's that one guy you signed?
Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, Cordell
Yeah,
Patterson.
fucking beast.
He was a dog. Cordell Patterson?
Dog. Yeah, sorry, I picked him up, but no one else did.
Yeah.
I didn't even draft him.
But I'm saying you didn't win because of Debo, though. Didn't you say Cordell was like your main reason?
Cordell Patterson, Amari St. Brown, that receiver for the Lions.
Oh, really?
Absolute fucking beast in fantasy.
Beast. Well, I'll probably
Dog.
Amari Sanders?
Dog.
Anything else, Ryan? I mean, did we make it? We made
That's
it,
it.
right? We
Well,
made
you
it.
guys remembered on there the last.
Yeah, but we
won't
made our
count.
initial thought.
Yeah.
We made our initial thought. We played.
Boom.
We do a little play. Hey, John and I do a little thing called play. We do a little play.
We do a little foreplay.
We do.
Oh, we don't.
Wait. Hold on. Yo, what? All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. As always, like, subscribe, share. Check us out on YouTube. YouTube, check us out on Spotify. Spotify, check us out back on YouTube. You know, the back and forth, the back and forth, the back and forth. This is how it goes. This is how it goes. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. Hopefully, we can keep you some updated with some more sports next week. All things considered, we have our reunion coming up this Saturday.
Oh, we do.
We're gonna get weird with some old friends. Get a little going.
What are you wearing? What are you wearing?
I think I'm gonna wear a jersey.
You're gonna wear a jersey?
Yeah, I'm just gonna crush 3 Coors Lights, shotgun them all,
Wow.
wear a jersey.
Ryan, what are you wearing?
I might wear a polo if anything. I don't know. Ryan, what are you wearing? Let's get a little fashion. Get a
Yeah.
little fashion sense. What are you wearing? You're gonna wear khaki pants?
Probably.
It's the summer. Don't
Maybe-
wear it. Wear
maybe-
shorts.
Maybe
wear
some
shorts.
cool khaki shorts.
Yeah.
Khaki
Those
pants.
always,
Short pants.
they always play. They always
No,
play.
khakis
They always
always fuck. Fact. Just like Dodie Devon, dog. Right? He fucks. What are you gonna wear? Get a little fashionista.
I don't know. That's why I was asking you guys. Maybe I'll wear a polo. If you're wearing a jersey, I'll wear my
I'll
bishop.
wear a button down with 3/4 of the button.
I think. Wow. Undershirt or no undershirt?
I think we should go as the Benchwarmers.
I think I might just go completely opposite direction, like wear full baseball pants, like cleats, or like a 3-piece suit.
Should I wear I was gonna say, should I wear a suit?
We should just show up in a suit and then go see the Minions. By the way, saw Nope, Jordan Peele, Nope, big fan, loved it.
Heard got really bad reviews.
Well, they can suck my ass, okay?
Can't count on me.
But thank you so much for hanging out with us. We'll stop rambling. We'll see you guys next week. We appreciate you as always. John, you got anything to say to people before we go?
Rip the goats.
Rip the goats, definitely. Ryan, you got anything to
Tough
say to
week.
people?
No.
Tough week.
You fucking suck. You need to figure out the same stuff to the people. Well, I said already what I said. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.